Hello friends, welcome back to that 1870s Homestead. My name's Rachel, and today I'm excited to share a couple things with you. It's going to be a little bit more vlog style. It's kind of just what we've got going on for today. But I am down in my basement pantry, and right now I feel like I must have been one of those kids who didn't put my toys away when I was a kid. I really honestly don't remember, but probably me. And because I don't put my toys away still now when I'm done, and I have a huge mess to clean up after the Christmas and New Year's holidays and just all the food that we consumed and the things that were going on. It always just after it's cleaned and made, whatever ends up on this table, and I need my table space to start project number 1 today. So first I'm just giving you the raw and dirty of a working pantry, and we're getting this space put back in order. But all that ketchup I made, or not ketchup, enchilada sauce I made recently that I need to find a place to put away. This is open. And I think smoked chicken and black beans are here. Did you guys see that? I almost lost a whole bunch of jars. Okay, it gets to be a Jenga pile, and it's fun to be adding back to the pantry right now, but lots of empty jars just from eating and consuming that I need to put away, spices that have been used. So much shopping. Gift bags. Here's all the smoked chicken. Get that put away. Okay, black beans. And then I bought, because we don't keep milk. We're not milk drinkers. So I don't keep milk in the house ever. I use evaporated milk for nearly everything where a recipe calls for milk. I find it makes things taste sweeter, and it bakes just as well as things that call for milk. So I'm gonna go stack this on my store-bought pantry over there. So I'm just putting away some of my plastic tubs that my bulk spices come in that have been empty and jarred off. I like saving those because I will reuse those for other purposes around the house throughout the year. And then I wanted to give you guys a tip if you're just thinking about getting into home preserving this year or doing it on a larger scale. Winter is a fantastic time to stock up on supplies. Your vinegars, your pickle crisp, your pickling lime, pickling salt, any of your Mrs. Wages mixes when there's not a rush on those things. If you wait till preserving season, I know I've been in the situation many times early on where I couldn't find pickle crisp. It was sold out everywhere, or pickling salt. So just a tip for you, get out now. It's budget friendly. You can add it to your monthly budget and not feel like you're having to, buy a bunch of things when it's time that you need them. So we're gonna head over and do some of our canning jar putaways, and I'm almost cleaned up. But before we do that, I thought of one last thing as I was putting some things that don't go with my mason jars away, and that's little glass store-bought jars. So these had maraschino cherries in them. I keep probably way more than I should because I just want to always have enough containers because I'm a container freak, I guess. But I was putting these away. I have 6 of them. I was looking at them. I was like, these would make the cutest candle jars. So think outside the box too. When you have storage containers, you could take the label off, spray paint the top, make it a cute candle, put bath salts in it for your bathroom, all kinds of things. I use my leftover jars for lots and lots of purposes, and I save, so I think that there's another one in here, yeah. I save my candles, jars for who knows. But I am always down here digging in my store-bought jar boxes for crafts and things like that. And then you don't have to go out and buy something new because you've already bought it once. All right, I think I just put 1 case of wide mouth pints. I have a case of regular mouth pints, a case of quarts, and then probably 4 of each left over that I need to stack. And another tip, save your boxes when you're just getting into canning. They make great storage boxes when you're done consuming your goods. Alrighty, just a few bulk items now to put away. Alrighty, so, storage for my bulk goods. If you caught one of the last videos, we did a little Amish haul. So all my bulk spices go up there. I have beans to put away, and they are in a 5-gallon bucket right below you. So, and then I have this flour that I need to fit in a freezer somewhere. Where did my beans go? So it's not very full. I don't there's like 5 bags of beans in there. So I just keep it topped off. I don't go crazy. But I probably should do more with respect to preparedness, but we do what we can with the space that we have, and I just make sure that that bucket stays kind of full with beans. And there's another bean. Oops. And then my oats. So when I get bulk grain products, rice, oats, flour, things like that, I put them in the freezer for at least 48 hours. Mine usually stays in there months until something needs to be filled. So I'm just popping that in the freezer right behind you guys. And the wheat berries we're working with today, so those are going to stay out, but I do have buckets that I can store the excess in. The beans I don't worry about also having a gamma lid on. I just use the regular 5-gallon bucket lid. Same with my honey. And if you don't know what gamma lids are, I went to lift this really heavy, but this is one of my empty flour ones, which is why I restocked it. A gamma lid has an O-ring, and it makes a really tight seal on your dry good products. So I do use those on flour, sugar, my wheat berries, things like that. So we still have, this one's probably 3/4 full of flour. So I'm going to use that before I refill, and I have 4 empty ones. So I usually keep 5 5-gallon buckets of processed flour ready to be used, and then I have probably the same in wheat berries. Soft white, good for things like biscuits, your pastries, cookies, cakes, things like that, and the hard white for your breads. So what else do I have to put away? Oh, the flour. I'm gonna get off camera because it's really heavy. And then I'll come back when I figure out sorting that all in the freezer. All right, I got it put away. I thought it a good opportunity to show you guys a peek at the status of the freezer. So I had to do a lot of rearranging. I pulled out 3-gallon bags. Let me grab one and show you. Gallon bags, and this is all like chicken bones from canning that chicken. So I've got 3 of those we can pull up to make chicken broth. But I had to do a lot of rearranging. This is all pork. So sausage, roast, ham steaks, pork chops. About 7 chickens, and a little bit more sausage, and another pork roast. A little bit more sausage, 1 layer underneath this bag of flour. Underneath this bag of flour is all lard, You guys can see that. The bottom 2 drawers are bacon. I have my leaf lard, and it looks like another, oh, that's all ham shanks at the bottom, and more sausage, or this is goat. That's all the goat that we have left. So I really want to raise more goat this year, but I really don't know if we're going to. Trying to keep it simple coming back after the Sabbath year of rest. But I'm ready. And all of that was so that I could clear up space for plugging in this grinder. So I'm gonna have to turn out the light because I only have the one. Oh no, that's why this is here. 1 second. Todd brought me this so I could have the light on, but that's only a 2-pronged outlet up there. Okay, I think I've sorted it out. We've stolen an extension cord from the dehumidifier. We're over on the freezer, the chest freezer, and this is my Wonder Mill. I've been successfully, I don't think I've shown any videos on it, but incorporating 1 out of every 3 cups in my bread recipe with fresh ground wheat. I'm just practicing using that and building up changing our taste buds a little bit from 100% all-purpose flour to incorporating some fresh ground wheat berries. And it's really lovely. It's enjoyable. It hasn't changed my bread really much at all. And so I'm gonna flip this on. It's like a jet engine loud. It's so loud. But it has this little container over here that the flour shoots out. It has a pastry, bread, or coarse setting. So I go like just over the bread, a little bit towards the pastry setting. And I'm going to grind up, oh, I should tell you why. If you missed that video, why I bought this. So I buy hard red winter wheat, and I want to practice planting wheat in my garden this year to teach myself how to grow my own wheat berries and like just get an understanding of what you can harvest from a certain amount of square foot, so that if I wanted to plant a bigger plot or I needed more, I would know, okay, now I need to multiply that size and scale by what. And so to do that practice round, I bought this hard white spring wheat so I can try it. And I bought that from my Amish store when I was over there. But I want to try it in the bread. It shouldn't be much different than a hard winter wheat from my understanding, but we're going to practice making our bread this week with it and just make sure it's fine. So I'm going to turn this on. We're going to add our grains to our hopper, and then I'll see you guys upstairs with what the purpose of today's video was making this bread. Okay, we're back up at the kitchen, getting ready to make our bread. I'll show you guys what the flour looks like. So I'm going in with a cup of water. I use the bread maker to always make all my bread doughs anyway. I never cook the bread in there, just to make the dough so that, come on, find me. Hello again. So that I can get on to doing other things. But let's open this lid and take a look at the flour. It smells yummy. You guys see in there? Okay, now we're working. The bran and the germ is like the really good stuff that you get from whole wheat berries. It adds to the fiber, the protein levels in whole ground flour, but it also gives it that nuttier and coarser texture. So there are ways, like if you're grinding flour and you really need that smooth, I don't want to do that yet, that smooth flour, that you can sift out the germ and the bran parts of it, but I don't do that for the purposes of making bread. So I put in a cup of flour. I'm going to go in with a 1/3 cup of honey. I'm trying to be better and use a lot less white sugar. I will readily and be the first to admit that giving up white sugar is hard. It is, that's why they say it's addicting. It really, really is. And it definitely makes things taste yummy. But you can train your taste buds to enjoy healthier and more nutritious and delicious natural foods, like our own homegrown honey in our breads. So now I have oil. I know you can't see the bread machine all that well anymore, but if you want a video on just making bread, I definitely have that, and I poured way too much. I'd only need 1/8 of a cup for one bread loaf. 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. That's another thing that you can change in your diet to get higher quality salt, is switching to a good source of pink sea salt or Himalayan salt, or, are you guys way crooked now? Or even better yet is the Redmond mineral salt. It has lots of good minerals in it for your body. So that's what we've switched to. Now we're gonna go in with our flour. 3 cups. So I'm going in with 2 cups of all-purpose, and I do use just not necessarily organic, but a non-GMO all-purpose flour, and then the last cup is our wheat that we just ground. Then about 2.5 teaspoons of yeast. Dough setting, and that's 1.5 hours, so it's time for me to get my broth going and maybe go outside and get some trees planted today. Ready? I'll bring you guys back at the end and show you what the bread looks like. Alrighty, now we're getting, sorry about the noise of the bread machine, but we are getting our chicken stock going, and this is going to be some really delicious chicken stock because it's from smoked chickens. So we individually smoked the chicken necks. So I've got 3 chicken necks in here, and then just all the bones I froze that day. And so don't ever feel pressure that you have to get it all done in one day. You absolutely do not. When it comes to canning, preserving, putting up the harvest, if you don't have time that day, just freeze it. You just don't want to waste it, I guess is the main point. So I'm going in with a bunch of onion scraps. So these are sprouted onion tops. Oh, celery leaves. That'll be good in there. Save all your scraps when you cook, when you're preserving this year, and you're, say peeling your carrots. Put that in your scrap bag. All my junky carrots I keep for broth. If they're like deformed, maybe have little holes in them, things like that. So we'll throw in some carrots. And now, if I wanted to make a full veggie broth, I would be dumping all of my veg in here, but we're just adding some flavor to our chicken broth. And then my garlic scapes is, other than making pesto, I always use garlic scapes in my chicken broth rather than my good garlic for, cooking with. So. And now I'm just going to top this with water, thyme, and our peppercorns. So we'll throw in some thyme, not too much. And a few peppercorns and a couple bay leaves. And then top it with water. And I'm going to set it on mine is like a slow cook. I'm going to set it on slow cook, and it's probably going to go a good 24 hours. So I won't strain and can this up till tomorrow, which will likely not be on this video. But I do have videos on canning chicken broth, turkey broth, making beef stock, all kinds of things that you can do with the bones. So say you had, for New Year's, a big huge T-bone, or some type of roast with your beef bones in it. Store all those bones, and then when you have a big batch of bones, you can roast them and make beef stock. So I am going to go through those veggies back down in the freezer, top this off, throw my peppercorns and bay leaves in, and then I'll see you guys back when it's time to slice into that bread and show you guys how good it turned out. Okay, well, I thought I'd let you guys see the rise on the bread. It does seem to, and I forgot to mention this earlier, nice and fluffy. It does seem to take a little longer than just 100% all-purpose flour to rise. Maybe an extra 30-45 minutes. And I just let it sit in my dough my bread maker. I don't do anything else differently to prep this bread than I do 100% all-purpose flour. And back when we used to buy bread, and if we buy bread anymore, say I'm busy at work and I haven't had time to make flour, I don't know if everybody has it everywhere, but our choice of store-bought bread has always been that hillbilly flour, and this is extremely similar to that. And I just roll it out. You guys have seen this before on other videos of me making breads. Get all the bubbles out. We were just outside planting the pine trees that I brought home from the cabin the last time we were there. We'll see if they make it. It's an odd time to plant in the middle of January, but we've just had such an extremely mild winter. But we do have quite the cold coming with some, hopefully, snow finally. And I roll it up fairly tightly. I don't like before I knew this trick, I didn't like cutting into homemade bread and there being big holes in it that your, sandwich dressing or jelly, if you're making peanut butter and jelly, would fall through. And this makes a nice tight bread loaf. Lightly oil our pan. I have a feeling my oven is about to go out on the kaput. It's making a funny sound. It's a gas stove. When it's doing that preheat, like lighting the pilot light, and keeps sounding like it's going in and out. And I was debating, do I start this and cross my fingers that it's going to make it, or should I just continue the baking in the bread machine? But we're gonna chance it. So cross your fingers with me. And if you've used whole grain flour, or if you are, feel super confident in the uses of, or any differences in the spring wheat versus winter wheat, please let me know. Because I am doing hard red winter versus spring, so I have winter in stock downstairs that I've been using. This is my first time baking with the spring. I'm going to show you guys the bread machine, or the bread when it comes out of the oven. So far, I'm not even in mixing it, now just rolling it out, it rising. I'm not noticing any difference. So I just have my oven set to proof. I'll proof it for an hour. And then we'll bake it at 350 for 30 minutes. Do you guys wash your rolling pins? I don't. I mean, unless it got really dirty, but I feel like the flour and the little bit of oil and the yeast and everything, I'm creating this wonderful heirloom rolling pin that'll someday be passed down, filled with lots of natural yeast and just, it's mom's bread rolling pin. Alrighty, it's all done and cooked. I can't cut into it yet, but she's a beauty like always. Some yummy looking bread right there. I'm gonna get it out, let it cool, and then when it cools up, we'll cut into it together. And I was just thinking, you guys have been with me from the beginning of the day. It doesn't really take this long to bake bread. It was just a lot of cleanup and stuff we had to do together to get our day really going. So let me get this out. At least you guys can see it. All right, guys, I think it's cooled off enough and safe enough that I can cut into it for you and show you. 1 second. And I keep my homemade bread in this old vintage, it's not even Tupperware brand. The brand is Republic, called Polyflex, made out of Chicago, USA. But the bonus for me is one of my loaves. I have to cut a slice out of it so it fits in there. So I always get a free taste test of breads every time I make a cut of bread, or a loaf of bread. All right. Let me get my face out of the way. Doesn't that look yummy? Smells delicious. And then it fits just perfect, taking that slice out. But thanks guys for coming with me today. And I'm just gonna be practicing using my stone ground wheat. Tomorrow morning, I think I'm actually gonna try some homemade biscuits with it, but for that I will sift it since it's not soft wheat. But watch, let me get one. Nice pool, good crunchy crust. Not too crunchy, it softens up a lot when it's in the container. Yummy, chewy, perfect bread. Okay, I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for hanging out with me today.